Diamond Comics Distributors, the largest distributor of English-language comics, filed for bankruptcy on January 14th. Kapow spoke to Briggs from Impact Comics to talk about how this could affect comic retailers.
Up until early 2020, Diamond was pretty much the exclusive single-desk supplier for all comic shops around the world. And then during the COVID pandemic, DC shifted away and they created a new distributor and went exclusive with them. Image followed them, but Image was then still being sold from them back to Diamond to resell. So Diamond became more a wholesaler than a proper distributor. And then following that, Marvel, IDW, Dark Horse all went to Penguin Random House. And again, they were all selling back to Diamond to on-sell. So as that happened, if stores wanted to keep getting DC, they had to go and start a new account. If they wanted to keep getting Image and Marvel and Dark Horse and IDW, they had to make a decision of do they just stay at Diamond, or do they look into the potential of getting a better deal at the main distributor who they've moved to. Effectively, it all just meant lots more admin got put on each individual store because they had to fragment all of their ordering processes, and every supplier used different file formats and all sorts of different things happened. Comic shops in the last 5 years have had to be really, really nimble. So then you ended up with the biggest publishers left as an exclusive to Diamond were Boom Studios, Titan Publishing, Dynamite. Boom Studios at the end of last year then announced that they'd been bought by Penguin Random House. So June this year, they were going to be following Marvel over to Penguin Random House. So that left Diamond looking forward, going, all right, as far as exclusives go, the largest they have is Dynamite, who do like Vampirella, and Titan, who have like Blade Runner comics, and then like a million little tiny publishers who do like a single book. And of course, all of your manga publishers and all of those guys who do the stuff that's selling really, really well to the next generation coming through, they're all available through regular book distributors to bookstores and stuff as well. So none of those guys are exclusive to Diamond either. So it is very much the very, very small publishers who most of your viewers have probably heard of a title rather than the actual publisher's name. Just Marvel and DC, you're looking at up over 70% of Diamond's business was Marvel and DC. So they retained some of the Marvel business because they were still doing the sub-distributing, but they lost all of the DC business. So, yeah, that's caused massive changes in the way Diamond have to do business. Diamond's gone into bankruptcy now. It's very specifically Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which means that they can keep trading and they'll keep receiving stock. So it's a way of freezing their existing debts so that they can arrange a loan or find a buyer or rejig things around. So they're going to keep going is the short answer right now. From what I've seen of the numbers, it looks plausibly like it's reasonably the sort of bills that you'd expect them to have following Christmas. So I think this is them cutting it off before it became a really big problem. I think they sort of looked at the cash flow, the projected cash flow, and went, okay, this, if we try and kick this down the road, then it will become a big problem. So right now I've got a lot of hope. The conversations, as you'd imagine, the last 24 hours have gone really, really fast. I was just looking at a post from a retailer I know who's got a lot of connections on the inside of various parts, and he was saying that it looks like there might be a buyer for Diamond Comics. So we knew that the Canadian distributor, Universal Distribution, they had picked up Alliance Games, which is Diamond's games distributor arm, and they've made a commitment to pick up Diamond UK, which is the UK distribution. So it might be them looking to buy the whole thing. There's a lot of little bits and pieces to Diamond. Like, they own Free Comic Book Day. They own the Overstreet Price Guide. They own Diamond Select Toys that make Star Wars statues and action figures from the Marvel characters and that. So there's a lot of pieces in there. It could end up all being chopped up and distributed amongst a number of different players. I think this realistically is just a matter of them not being able to move the big parts of the infrastructure, things like warehousing and machinery and stuff, fast enough to the way that the business has changed for them. They're going to keep trading. It's Chapter 11. But if this comes to a worst case scenario, the big problem is that the bottom 80% of publishers who get distributed to comic shops are exclusively carried by Diamond. There is no other way to get them. And so they only make up like 17% of the market or something like that. But for each one of those publishers, so many of them are just a single person making it happen. It's their entire market is Diamond. Diamond falls through if Diamond doesn't carry on beyond this. Yeah, all of those are like literally 80% of the individual publishers are potentially have lost their avenue to get into comic shops. And there are a lot of the smaller comic shops, a lot of those small places, they just rely exclusively on Diamond as well. They don't have the infrastructure to have multiple suppliers the way we do. And so losing Diamond would be a big problem for them as well. At the very least, if we come through this and there is a buyer, the way these things tend to go is that buyer or that investor is going to want Diamond to change the way they do things. So that will probably mean, even if we come through this, some smaller publishers are going to have to get cut. Some smaller comic shop accounts are going to be told that they're just too small and be cut. So things are going to be changing for sure. The market is definitely going to have to change. Fingers crossed it's not too dramatic. Fingers crossed that all those little players can find their way out. We might see a lot of little publishers group together to make themselves little conglomerate publishers, which might work better for the new whack goes forward. So yeah, things are changing constantly. It'd be nice to live in boring times and not have to spend constantly reevaluating the way the industry works. It feels like that conversation hasn't stopped. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it feels like I can't go a full year without something feeling like it's dramatically upending the entire industry. I think somebody was talking about the comics industry has famously been dying since 1939 or something. It'd be nice to just happily be selling comics without it being too tricky. But then again, if it was too easy, all the big boring companies would be in, and you wouldn't have all these wonderfully diverse comic shops all run by individuals who are passionate about the product. You know, you got to love it, or you wouldn't be doing it.